Go. Did you know that there are over 120 spoken languages in the state of Utah?
Wow.
120. So this is because there are thousands of returned missionaries from people, native Utahns grow up, they go serve missions, and they go all over the world speaking all kinds of languages. I'm one of those examples. I got to go to San Jose, California, and got to learn sign language on my mission, as well as a couple other languages, such as Mandarin when I lived with the Chinese-speaking missionaries, Hindi and Telugu when I lived in Little India, which is Fremont, California, as well as Tongan when I got assigned to a Tongan area in my last part of my mission. So how many of you grew up speaking more than one language in school here in Utah?
Me.
Awesome. So that is not the majority of everyone in here though. And that's going to be what I'm talking about today, is that there's not a lot of language immersion programs in our elementary schools as well as our other schools as we grow up. There are few bilingual programs in America, and we have the power to change that. So I'm going to be going into that. And in order to explain why that's going to be better for us, I'll talk about how we can best learn our languages, how some short-term benefits that come with it, and long-term benefits. So, as we all know, the younger that we start to learn the language, the easier it is. This is because children's minds are developing until about 12 years old. So as children have more exposure to different languages, they'll develop that language skill as well as all the cultural benefits that go along with it. Just like Jane Merrill quoted in her book, Bringing Up Baby Bilingual, she quoted Dr. Williams Gerards and said, "Babies and young children are literally language learning machines. The formulative period diminishes but does not seal off until about age 12, when the initially uncommitted part of the brain, which the child could have used for an additional language, has been taken over for other functions." So, again, development happens the most between ages 0 to 12, and so we want to learn a language at that time if possible, otherwise it'll be more difficult. Now I'll move on to some short-term benefits like we'll see in school. Children who know 2 languages tend to show better results with improved memory, focus, and performance in school as well as in the home. As Melanie Metzger put it in her article, Bilingualism and Identity in Deaf Communities, she said, "Children in bilingual communities do not only learn 2 languages, but also the social rules when and where the languages may be used." On my mission, I was able to not only learn a few more languages and some words in them, but also the social and cultural norms that go along with it. So, like for example, tulo is a Tongan word that means excuse me, but it's the more respectful term for it. As well as namaskaru mandi, which is Telugu. It's something that you use to address someone who's elder to you. And eye gaze is extremely important for the deaf community, and lack of it shows lack of respect. So from these, I've learned that there's different forms of respect for your elders, for women, and all kinds of different people that I learned not only from the language, but from being involved in the cultures. And as we get older, we can still learn the language, but it would have been easier to learn, like for me, it would have been easier to learn those words as I was growing up rather than when I was 22. Now for the long-term benefits, there's a lot more job opportunities if you speak more than one language, such as interpretation, translation, in court, medicine, which is what I'm hoping to do, is to become an interpreter, and there's a lot of job opportunities that I could do with only that career choice. There's also a lot of higher education pathways, such as scholarships, degrees, programs, all that can come from being bilingual or knowing more than 2 languages. As I mentioned before, there's greater understanding of different cultures, their norms, their beliefs, and how they see the world. And the more that we understand those cultures, the better we can understand our own. And also, this is probably, I think, the most important part of becoming involved in learning other languages, is that the more we learn about other cultures and their beliefs, the more we're understanding, and the more understanding we have, the less hate crime we'll be seeing. Imagine if someone who committed all these hate crimes had been involved with the cultures that they so hated. Would they have committed their terrible acts? Maybe, maybe not. We won't know for sure. But I believe that this is the only long-term prevention for hate crime reduction. So where we are now is that I found some information in the Utah State Board of Education website, as well as from this article that Linda Espinoza from the University of Missouri-Columbia found. She said that only a few states provide sufficient funding to implement programs that require highly qualified teachers and assistant teachers, as well as regular program monitoring and program assistance to ensure consistent quality. And this is for elementary bilingual immersion programs. So, since there are only few of them in the United States, we're not seeing as many benefits that I've mentioned. We need to do all that we can in order to spread this great program and get more schools involved with it. So, just in summary, I'll go over the benefits again. Learning a language and culture rapidly is done at a younger age, so I propose that we implement these programs into elementary schools so that we can begin at the youngest age possible and thus make it the easiest time to learn a language. We have short-term benefits such as improved performance in school, greater understanding and respect for each other, and social sensitivity. We have long-term benefits such as job and school opportunities, cultural awareness, and again, hate crime reduction. And since we speak so many languages here in Utah, we need to be the leading force in implementing more of these programs and getting them to spread throughout the United States and see all the great benefits that I've mentioned. You can find more information at these sources that I've used, and thank you for your time.